Yep.
Everything is same, but I will let you know wording. This one is for tweet.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is for YouTubers.
Okay.
Somebody in the public like
Okay.
I don't know where anyway just you don't need the pick answer. You don't need
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everything. Just
Yeah.
pick some.
Okay.
For service, if somebody say hi, Allan, you say hi.
Yep.
You can say Angela. Hey Angela, hi. GC Brazil. Yeah, Brazil, hi. GC Brazil, maybe listen or something like that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can interaction, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, but it will be many because of you're the famous teacher.
Yeah.
So things So did you turn on the mic?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on. Or it should be on.
Definitely or this one. Almost ready. 1 minute left.
Okay.
여기 지금 방송 알람 방송할 거니까요. 많이 참여하게 해주세요. 30 seconds. Ready?
Yep.
Pen.
Okay, hello everybody. How are you guys doing today? Is there anybody here watching on Twitch? Can I get a hello or a hi? Well, okay, maybe not yet, maybe later. Say hi whenever you want. Anyhow, guys, I know yesterday that you guys went over some grammar, some vocabulary, and Melanie also did some... Oh, hi there, Esther. How's it going? Oh, it's going pretty good here. I hope it's going okay for you, too. Hello, Alan. How are you? Aileen. Oh, hey, Aileen. How's it going? Wait, Aileen. Ooh, I always mispronounce it. Oh, how am I doing? Good question. I'm doing okay. Of course, staying at home most of the time with my wife and my kid. But yeah, it's going okay. I hope you're doing okay. How are you doing? Oh, I'll give you some time to write an answer if you're still watching. Anyhow, guys, I know yesterday with Melanie, you guys went over some grammar, some writing, and some vocabulary. And I know the grammar focus yesterday, or kind of for this whole week, is used to and would, right? Now, yesterday I watched a movie, right? And I also cooked dinner. But when we use used to and would, we're kind of talking about things far in the past that we did in the past, but we no longer do, right? So for example, I used to play in the forest. Wow, that's a weird example, right? I used to play in the forest and wait for cars to drive past and then shoot them with a cap gun. A cap gun is not a real gun. Wow, that makes me sound like a real weirdo. But I want you guys to think, what did you used to do? Maybe when you were a kid, you used to play the piano, right? And of course, you could just say, for example here, I used to do something, right? Oh, looks good. Thanks. I'm good. Okay, great. That's good to hear, Eileen. I hope you're staying safe, staying home, and not going out too often, except for grocery shopping. But anyhow, I used to play the piano, right? But of course, we can put some other things in here. What did you guys used to do? Maybe you used to, I don't know, play basketball. Or maybe you used to watch Disney movies, right? Now the important thing to keep in mind here is that anything that you used to do is something that you did in the past but you no longer do, right? And the only reason I wanted to look at this is because this is a big focus for this week, is using used to and also would, right? Anyhow, guys, so what we're going to be doing today, though, in the first class is we're going to be going over an article, right? We're going to do some reading, and we're going to take a look at some vocabulary, and we've got a lot of questions to answer as well. In the second class, we're going to continue with that, but if we have a little bit of extra time, we might do a little bit of speaking practice. Now, I know that sounds weird because you can't really speak to me, but maybe I'll model some answers. And in our third class today, we're going to be talking about an extinct animal, and we're going to be doing some listening. So anyhow, guys, I want you guys to take a look at the Guardian article that we have here for our reading for today, right? So we've got it starts at the top, it says The Guardian, and it says Trip Advisors Move to Protect Wild Animals. Okay, now first off, wild animals. What are wild animals? What's the opposite of a wild animal? Let's think about that for a second. Wild animal. Okay, let's think of some quick examples. What are examples of some wild animals? Does anybody have an answer for me? Give you guys a couple of seconds here. Okay, looks like nobody's got an answer right now. Well, that's okay. All right, well, in Canada, of course, we have many different kinds of wild animals. If I think about my hometown, which is far, far up north in northern British Columbia, we have a lot of wild animals, such as something that starts with an M, something, 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 something. What do you think it is? It's very, very, very big. It's not a carnivore. It doesn't eat other animals, but it's very big, and it has huge antlers, and it's one of Canada's national animals. What is it? Okay, well, if you're guessing moose, good for you. It's moose. All right. But around my hometown, we also have animals like, wolves, also beavers, which is another national animal in Canada. Beavers. We also have something called porcupines. And you guys probably know what moose are. You probably know what wolves are. and also beavers. But porcupines are kind of a small animal that has many needles on it. It's actually a little bit dangerous. If you step on it, it's going to really hurt your foot. Anyhow, now let's get back to what I was talking about before. The opposite of wild animals. What would that be? Okay, so a wild animal lives outside. It isn't under the control of humans, right? We don't control wild animals. So again, moose, wolves, beavers, porcupines, and lots of different animals around the world, right? But the opposite is we call them domesticated animal or animals, right? I should also put that here. Domesticated animals. So domesticated animals are animals that humans have controlled for a long period of time. Chickens, cows, I don't know, sheep, pigs, cats, dogs, etc., right? So that's the opposite. Anyhow, guys, let's actually get into this article here. And it says here as a warm-up question, when planning a holiday, where do you find information about nearby tourist attractions? Okay, now of course, when you guys are planning a holiday, just like me, when you're planning to go somewhere, you're probably thinking, when I go to that place, what are some of the famous tourist attractions? Of course, right? Whether you're going to Paris in France, or you're going to Bangkok in Thailand, Tokyo in Japan, or Madrid in Spain, right? You probably think, what are some famous tourist attractions I could go to? So the question here is, where do you find information about nearby tourist attractions? Okay, so think about it. How do you find information on nearby tourist attractions? Anybody got an answer? I'll give you guys 10 seconds. Okay, I'm waiting. Nobody seems to have an answer. All right. Aileen, are you still here? Or Mr. Nobody? Mr. Nobody 69? Okay. Hello, it feels like I'm taking your class again. Feels good to be back. Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much, person. Sorry, I don't know what your name is, but thank you very much for taking class with us today. All right, guys, but getting back to the question here, where do you find information about nearby tourist attractions? Okay, now, I'll just give my own answer. Of course, you know, I'm old, but I'm not too old, right? I'm born in the internet age. So, of course, for me, when I want to find where I can go, yeah, go to the information center. Yes, that's good. Yes, definitely go to an information center in that city, right? That makes a lot of sense. So, good answer, I like that. But for me, and I'm sure many of you guys out there of a similar age or younger, you probably just go online and you Google it, right? You Google famous tourist attractions in blank, right? In Madrid, in Barcelona, in Rome, in Paris, in Vancouver, right? And if you search in Vancouver, you know, famous tourist attractions in Vancouver, what are you going to find? Of course, you're going to find things like Capilano Suspension Bridge, or maybe one of the stadiums, or, I don't know, my apartment. No, of course not. You're not going to find my apartment there. But maybe you'll also find the steam clock, right? Steam clock is kind of a very popular tourist attraction in Vancouver because it's quite old and steam comes out of it. However, when I went there, I thought it was pretty boring. I don't know about you guys. But anyhow, so usually I just go online and I Google famous tourist attractions. Oh, okay, good. Aileen, all right, you got an answer. Aileen said, I usually buy Book of Traveling. Okay, good. Or what you could say, Aileen, is I usually buy Book of Traveling. Book of Traveling sounds kind of funny. And I don't mean funny like ha 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 funny. I usually buy Book of Traveling. I usually buy travel books, right? Or I get travel brochures or maybe some pamphlets. I went there, it was cool, haha. Handyal J. Corton, are you talking about the steam clock? I went there, it was cool, ha. The steam clock. Was it cool? Are you sure? Maybe it was cool because you went to a bar after? I don't know. Okay, but anyhow, Hambill, good answer. Thanks, I got it. Okay, Aileen, no problem. Thank you very much for responding. Okay, anyhow, guys, so I don't know how you guys find information on famous tourist attractions, but like I said, most of us probably look online, but we can also get pamphlets or brochures, and we can also use travel books, right? Steam clock. Yes. All right, Hambyul. Yes. Awesome. All right, the steam clock. You liked the steam clock. You liked it. Hambyul, why? Can you tell me why you liked it? I'll give you a second. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, we're waiting, but it's okay. You liked it. Why would you like the steam clock, right? Anyhow. All right, Hambyul, I'll come back to you when you got an answer. No worries, take your time, right? But let's move on here, guys, with number 2. We're going to take a look at some key words here. For most Koreans, we never it. Okay, good answer. English with something in Korean. For most Koreans, we never it. It's like Google for Korean. Okay, so you never it. Yeah, you could probably use that as a verb like Google as well. I was on time with the music on. Oh, okay, well that makes a lot of sense, Hambyul. Like if you go there, you're playing some music, and you see the steam clock, maybe it's really, really cool. Unfortunately, when I went there the first time with a good friend of mine, when I first came to Vancouver, I went there and I thought, okay, this is not bad. It's kind of interesting, but maybe this would be better if I were younger. Anyhow, maybe I'm just getting too old. All right, guys, but we should move on to number 2. So everybody, please take a look at number 2 on the Guardian article. It says here, key words, right? Key words. Yes, we're going to figure out the key words here. So it says match the key words with the definitions below. Then find them in the article to read them in context. The paragraph numbers will help you. Okay, guys, now honestly, this is pretty hard. We've got some fairly difficult vocabulary. This is supposed to be for intermediate or pre-intermediate level, but this is actually quite hard even for upper level students, right? Because some of the vocabulary here is not too easy. But let's take a look together. Let's look at these definitions. So number 1, we got here, when a wild animal is kept in a place such as a wildlife park or zoo instead of living in its natural home. What can we call that? Now, let's take a look at the vocabulary that we actually have here, right? We have, first one here, we have applaud. Okay, to applaud something. Now, we haven't come up to the definition yet, but I'll give you a quick hint for applaud. So, yeah, applaud, I don't think it really fits this here. Okay, beneath applaud, further on down, it says interaction. So the verb form of interaction is to interact, right? Interaction is a noun. To interact, to act with somebody, right? Or to communicate with somebody in a certain way. So interact, no, doesn't make a lot of sense here. Then we got a term like notorious, which is an adjective. No, unfortunately, answer is not notorious. So I'm going to help you guys out here. Let's take a look here. Okay, now actually the second word after applaud here is the word captive, right? Captive. So captive, it seems a little bit similar to that verb capture, right? To capture something, right? If you capture a mouse, it's like you trap it, right? And you don't release that mouse. So capture is similar to captive, right? And a captive is somebody who is kept in a certain place, right? Like, for example, maybe a jail or a prison, right? So actually, this is the answer that we're looking for number 1. When a wild animal is kept in a place such as a wildlife park or a zoo, instead of living in its natural home, the answer here is captive. Goodbye, teacher. I gotta go to work. Thank you for the lesson. I got the through your class. I just stopped by to say hello. Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much. All right. Have a great day. Hey, have fun at work. Or, wow, you're working. Oh, that's in Korea. Yeah, you guys are not doing so bad over there, right? All right. Well, have fun at work, and hopefully I'll see you another time. Okay, guys. So let's take a look at number 2. We've got gently move your hand over an animal's fur or skin. Okay, so gently, right? We know gently is like very, very softly, right? Gently move your hand over an animal's fur or skin. Okay, now what word could that be? All right, now, taking a look back at this list here, is it the word cruel? Cruel is an adjective. It means something similar to being mean. Cruel, right? That's not cruel. Is it welfare? No, I'll just tell you right now, it's not welfare. Is it traumatized? No, it's not traumatized. Oh, handbill, where do we get the materials? Sangcho, don't care, please. Oh, okay, all right. Well, handbill, what you want to do is you want to follow the instructions. I believe all current students were sent some instructions from the marketers. You can watch on YouTube, but you can also watch on Twitch. And I believe on Twitch you can get the materials. If you take a look maybe at your email, there should be instructions there from your marketer. So take a look. But anyhow, sorry, I got to get back to this, Abiel. Hopefully you can find it soon though. So yeah, gently moving your hand over an animal's fur or skin. Okay. Now would that be practice? No, that wouldn't be practice. Would that be portal? No, that wouldn't be portal. So what we're looking for here, guys, is actually the word stroke, right? Now, stroke can actually have a lot of different meanings, right? But one meaning, to stroke someone's shoulder, would be like this, right? To stroke. You're like gently kind of moving your hand over the shoulder. Or, you know, you stroke your cat, right? Or you stroke your dog, right? It's very similar to the verb pet, right? P-E-T, because pet has two meanings. One as a noun, you know, a pet dog, a pet cat, but also pet, right? But stroke has a very similar meaning to the verb form of pet, right? I'm going to pet my cat's head, or I'm going to stroke my cat's head. All right, guys, does that make sense? Yeah, kind of makes sense, maybe. Okay, hope it makes sense. All right, guys, so let's move on to number 3. We have good care and living conditions for animals. Twitter. If you're using, please email marketer for information. Don't care. Twitter. Sorry, Sancho, not Twitter. Twitch. D-W-I-T-C-H. And if you are a GC student, of course, you should have received an email about this. So check your email address. It should be there. Anyhow, guys, sorry. We're going to move on to number 3. Good care and living conditions for animals. You say Twitter to get the materials. Yeah, no, Sancho. Not Twitter. Not Twitter. Twitch, T-W-I-T-C-H. But again, if you're a PST student, I used to be a student though. Okay, well, Hanbiel, that's good too. Both of you guys, check your email address. You should find some instructions there from Global College, and hopefully that can help you out. But sorry, I'm just going to kind of move on right now. So, good care and living conditions for animals. Now, don't worry, I am going to look at paragraph 2. We will take a look at these words and how they're used in context, but I just want to finish all the words in paragraph 2 first. Now, good care and living conditions for animals. What would we call that? Now, we've already gone over some of the vocabulary, right? We can't use stroke, and we can't use, what was the other one here? We also cannot use captive. So would it be interaction? No, it wouldn't be interaction. Would it be notorious? No. So I'm just going to give you guys the answer here. The answer for number 3 that we're looking for is welfare. Welfare. So welfare has a couple of different meanings, right? But one of the meanings is good care and living conditions, right? Not just for animals, but could be for humans as well, right? Now in Canada, when we talk about welfare, what we're usually talking about is government assistance for people who are not making much money, poor people, for example, or for homeless people. So usually in Canada, if you unfortunately do not have a job, or maybe you are homeless, you can receive welfare payments. But in this case, welfare is just talking about good care and living conditions. And especially in this case, because we're talking about animals, for animals. Okay, guys. So that's number 3. Let's take a look at number 4. When you praise a decision, an action, an idea, etc. Now, I hope you guys understand, first of all, praise. What is praise? To praise somebody, right? Praise is a noun and a verb, right? Now, to praise somebody is to say, like, something like, hey, good job, well done, you're the best, you're so great, you're so wonderful, Allan. Oh, thank you for praising me. That sounds terrible, right? Anyhow, but yeah, when you praise somebody's decision, their action, or their idea, right? Somebody says like, hey, I got a great idea. Let's go to Burger King on Wednesday, right? Because of course, Burger King on Wednesday is Whopper Wednesday, right? That's when the Whopper burger is 50% off. So remember, after this coronavirus, pandemic is done with, go to Burger King on Wednesday. Now, that's a really great idea, right? Now, so maybe I should praise myself. Hey, Allan, that's really awesome. That's a great idea. Oh, thank you so much. Clap, 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 right? Okay, so actually, of course, the word that we're looking for here is one that we looked at earlier. It's the word applaud, right? Because to applaud somebody means to like clap for them, right? Or to say like, hey, that's really great, that's wonderful. It's similar to praise. Okay, good guys. So moving on to number 5. Causing pain or fear. Ooh, causing pain or fear. Ooh. Okay, so what word here causes pain or fear? Is it interaction? No. Is it notorious? If you thought it was notorious, that's actually not a bad idea, but it's not notorious. Is it portal? No, it's not a portal. Is it practice? No. Is it traumatized? Yeah, like traumatized is pretty close, but we're not looking for traumatized. Is it welfare? No, we already used it. Stroke? No. Captive? No. Applaud? No. So by process of elimination, our answer here is cruel. Cruel is causing pain or fear. Now, cruel is an adjective, and if we use cruel to describe somebody, we're saying that that person is very, very mean, that they may cause pain or fear for others, right? So let's try to think, who is a very cruel person? Maybe from history, right? Let's think here. Does anybody got an answer? Who is a very cruel person? Who's very mean, kind of evil? Does anybody got an answer? Eileen, any answer? Or maybe Sangcho or Hanbyul, any answer? Or maybe Esther, or maybe Mr. Nobody? Anybody? Who is a very cruel person? Now, thinking about in Canada's case, who is a very cruel Canadian? Ooh, that's a really tough question. We try not to be cruel in Canada, but of course there are some of us who are very cruel. Well, of course, thinking about our leader, Justin Trudeau, of course I cannot say that he's a cruel man. I don't always agree with him, but he seems to be a very nice guy. He's a good guy, so I can't describe him as cruel. Who is very cruel? All right, well, I think if you are Korean, maybe you could think of somebody living up north of you guys. Of course, you guys are in South Korea, in, people in the news. Yeah. Sangcho, good answer. Yes, coronavirus. Yeah, you could say this. Coronavirus is a very cruel disease because it makes us fear this disease, right? And it causes pain. So actually, Sangcho, that's really, really, really good. Now, Hanbyul, you're saying crimers. Now, not bad, but we don't say crimers, right? Crimers are not people. Oh, good, yeah, Sangcho, Hitler. Yeah, Hitler, very, very, very cruel human being. That is probably the best example I can think of. But Hanbyul, getting back to what you wrote down, you wrote crimers. You don't want to say crimers. Crimers are not people who commit crimes. It's a very good guess. But instead, I think what you're looking for here in Hanbyul is criminal. Criminal and criminals for plural, right? So criminals, criminals are people who steal things or kill people or do something that is against the law. All right, but yes, Sangcho, very good answer. Hitler is a great example of a very cruel person. Sangcho, good. Yes, criminals. All right, awesome, guys. So anyhow, getting back to what I was saying, maybe Sangcho and Hanbyul, maybe you guys will have an answer here. You guys, of course, are in South Korea, or you are from South Korea. Anyhow, you're in the South. You're in the ROK. Everything's good in the ROK. Everything's okay in the ROK. Okay, the Republic of Korea. Anyhow, but to the north, we've got the DPRK, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Bleh. Ooh, that's really tough in English. Or North Korea. Who's the leader of North Korea? Anybody? Mr. Hanbyul? Mr. Hanbyul? Hanbyul. Sorry, Hanbyul, if you're a woman. I'm pretty sure Hanbyul is a guy's name. I could be wrong there. I'm frequently wrong about these kind of things. But anyhow, what I was thinking, guys, is the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un. He is a very cruel person. And his dad, Kim Jong-il, yes, was also a very cruel person, right? Anyhow, guys, now that we know cruel, which is a very good descriptive adjective for describing people who are mean, we can move on. Now, actually, number 6 here, guys. Miss Un. Kim. Oh, sorry, Un Kim. Miss Un Kim. Who is Miss Un Kim? Jung Un Kim. Oh, Jung Un Kim. Oh, can I say his name? Yeah. Of course, you could write his name now, but Aileen. All right, thanks, Aileen. Yeah, you got the answer. Jung Un Kim. Jung Un Kim. Who is Jung Un Kim? Jung Un Kim. Kim Jong Un. Okay, sorry, Aileen. Yeah, I got it. Jung Un Kim. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Yes. Terrible dictator. Very cruel man. Okay, guys, but I do want to move on to number 6 here. But actually, no, we are supposed to read this in context, right? But yeah, Jung Un Kim. Awesome. Okay. But I think we're just going to go through the vocabulary first and then read things after, right? So let's move on to number 6. Number 6 here says, very upset, afraid, or shocked because of something bad that has happened. Kim Jong-un. Yes, good, awesome. No, Aileen, you were right. Yeah, Jung Un Kim, that's what I was looking for. Good job. All right, so sorry guys, number 6 again. Very upset, afraid, or shocked because of something bad that has happened. All right, now we've already used up a lot of this vocabulary. We know it's not applaud. We know it's not captive. We know it's not cruel. We know it's not stroke, and we know it's not welfare. So what do we have left? We've got interaction, notorious, portal, practice, and then we have traumatized. Okay, traumatized. So think about this, guys. If you are very upset, if you are afraid or shocked because of something that has happened in the past, what term here would be good? Would it be interaction, notorious, portal, practice, or traumatized? Okay. If you guys are thinking traumatized, you are correct, right? Now, I believe that, at least in Korea, probably also in Japan as well, trauma is a word that you guys have borrowed. I believe I can hear sometimes Koreans using the term trauma. I'm pretty sure anyhow. But if you say, I am traumatized, or I was traumatized, what you are explaining to people is that you experienced some kind of really bad situation. Yes, good, Hanbyul. Some kind of really bad situation that has kind of left a mental scar on you, right? because this situation has really shocked you. It's made you feel very upset and very afraid, right? So let me think. A lot of people who are, for example, soldiers who fight in wars, they experience trauma and they become traumatized, right? Or right now, whether it's in Korea or Canada or probably really bad in the United States and Italy, there are many nurses and doctors working in emergency rooms and in clinics where they're dealing with a lot of patients who are suffering from coronavirus. And unfortunately, I think a lot of them are getting traumatized because these situations are quite awful, right? So of course we should be very thankful to all the medical staff around the world that are fighting coronavirus. Anyhow, guys, so number 6, traumatized. Let's move on to number 7. A way of doing something or behaving. A way of doing something or behaving. Now, we already got traumatized. So would it be interaction? Notorious? No. Portal. Practice. Sorry guys, I'm just laughing because Sangcho said, after I asked about traumatized, he said the Korean education system. So Sangcho, I guess maybe you have been traumatized by the Korean education system. I'm so sorry for you. I hope you can get over your trauma. Maybe it's a good idea to think about therapy, but that's a really funny answer, so I appreciate that. Anyhow, guys, a way of doing something or behaving. Of course, it's not notorious, it's not interaction, it's not portal. Portal is like a way to go somewhere. So what we're looking for here is actually the word practice, right? Now, usually when you think of the word practice, you think of like maybe working out kind of, right? Or doing some English vocabulary practice, right? But a practice is also a way of doing something or behaving, like something you commonly do, right? So for example, in Canada, it is, it's a common practice to open the door for other people when you, I don't know, are approaching a building, right? So when you're going through or approaching a building and you want to go through, you open the door and you wait for others. This is kind of a common courtesy, kind of something to be like a courtesy is like politeness, or it's a common practice, something that we just commonly do, right? So of course, I know in Korea's case, it's a common practice to, what's a common practice in Korea? I think it's a common practice in Korea to bow to other people when you meet them or see them again, right? I believe that's true. Like, like, hi, Mr. Kim, like, and you do a bow, right? Or in Japan, that's probably similar. It's a common practice in Japan also to bow, right? But yeah, it's kind of hard to see the difference between common practice and common courtesy. And again, a courtesy is some kind of way of being polite. So for example, I know in Korea, when you're drinking with elderly people, you will take your drink and kind of hide your face and then start drinking, right? Anyhow, guys, so practice is the answer for number 7. But let's move on to number 8. Now, number 8 here says, an internet site that has links to other websites. An internet site that has links to other websites. Now, of course, everybody here uses the internet. Whenever you go to a certain web page, there are often links to other websites. What would we call that, right? Now, remember before I was talking about portal, right? Now, usually when I imagine portal, I think of like a science fiction movie set in space. And a portal opens up, and when they go through the portal, they're transported into a different world. So that's the answer that we're looking for here. We're looking for portal because a portal can just be like a link or a connection to some other place, right? So a portal site, of course, you go on to one site and then you see a link, right? Saying hi to older people in Korea is very rude. Oh, okay. All right, so yeah, I should keep that in mind. So Sangcho said, saying hi to older people in Korea is very rude. Okay, so that is not, saying hi to older people in Korea is not a common practice maybe. But Sangcho, what about bowing to older people is, no, of course bowing to older people is not rude, right? That's I guess a good thing, right? But anyhow, you don't have to answer that. That's okay. All right, guys, let's move on to number 9 here. The activity of being with and talking to other people or to animals. Okay, the activity of being with someone or talking to other people or animals. What would we call that, right? Now we know it's not traumatized. We know it's not practice. We know it's not portal. We've only got notorious and interaction, right? So of course the answer we're looking for here is interaction, right? Because interaction describes the activity of being with someone, right? Maybe talking to them or interacting, doing some kind of action with them, whether they're an animal or a human. All right, guys, so of course number 10, very, very useful adjective. It says famous for something bad. And of course, we know the answer here is notorious, right? Notorious, if we use this as an adjective, well, it is an adjective. We say he was notorious or she is notorious. That just means they're famous, but not for anything good. They're famous for something bad, right? So we could also say, like we were just talking about Kim Jong-un, right? He is a very cruel man. But we could also say that he is notorious, right? Because he is famous, but for something bad. Okay, guys, so we got all our vocabulary done here with the keywords, right? A lot of these words, some of them are very useful, other ones not so much. For me, I would say a word like applaud, kind of useful. Captive, not so useful, not so commonly used, but cruel, yes, cruel is a very useful word. Stroke, not so useful. Usually, like if I have a pet, I don't say I'm stroking my pet. I usually say I'm petting my dog or I'm petting my cat, right? Welfare, a little bit useful. Interaction, not too bad. Notorious, very useful adjective though. I would say notorious is good along with cruel. Portal, not so useful. Practice, yes, of course, useful word. And traumatized, pretty useful. All right, guys, so without much further ado, let's move on to the actual article. All right, so this is The Guardian, and it says TripAdvisor's move to protect wild animals. Now, you guys probably don't know what TripAdvisor is, or maybe you do know, right? But TripAdvisor is a very popular, well, I believe they had some travel agencies before, but they're a very popular online travel agency, right? You can use TripAdvisor to get advice on where you can travel to and book tickets, hotels, etc., right? So TripAdvisor's move to protect wild animals. So it sounds like TripAdvisor, this online site, they're trying to help protect wild animals. So good job, TripAdvisor. Okay, now it says TripAdvisor bans ticket sales to attractions that allow contact with wild animals. Now, even in that first little bit here, this is from the 12th of October 2016, you can see that there's a couple of hard words here, but actually the hardest is this ban, right? TripAdvisor bans, right? B-A-N, to ban something, right? So ban can actually be a verb and also a noun, right? Do you guys know, what does ban mean? Does anybody got an answer? To ban something. Right now, many governments around the world have banned many different things because of coronavirus. But to ban something is when a certain authority, such as the government, says you can no longer do this or you can no longer eat or drink this, right? So anyhow, what it's saying here is TripAdvisor, yeah, awesome, Aileen, thank you, yeah. Aileen wrote prohibit, to prohibit something, to stop some people from, yes, good, Sangcho too, prohibit. Yeah, to ban something is very similar, a synonym anyhow, is the word prohibit, right? You stop people from being able to do that. So right now in Canada, basically, most people, well, people are banned from going to bars, right? We can't go to a bar and have a drink there. That's been banned, right? Because if we did, we would maybe accidentally get coronavirus or spread it to others, right? So it's been banned. Anyhow, so TripAdvisor bans ticket sales to attractions that allow contact with wild animals. So let's take a look at the actual article here, guys. I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes, and I'm just going to stand here and wait until you're done reading. Okay, so go. Okay, just kidding. Yeah, that would be really, really boring. Okay, so actually I'm going to read the article, and we're going to stop from time to time and take a look at some vocabulary here, right? Now, this might take longer than 10 minutes. We'll see how it goes. So, taking a look at the first paragraph. Now, it would be good for you guys to read along with me, so I'm going to try to imagine that you guys are reading along with me at the same time. So, take a look at paragraph 1. It says, "It's something that every tourist wants to experience. Swimming with a dolphin. You reach out and touch. So does everyone else." Okay, guys, so that's our first paragraph. It's something that every tourist wants to experience. Swimming with a dolphin. You reach out and touch. So does everyone else. I'm confused now. Hi, Takuro. Takuro, you're confused now. Why are you confused? Okay, I'll wait for you to answer later. But anyhow, guys, it's something that every tourist wants to experience. Where is the textbook? Ban equals prohibit. Thank you, Sangcho. Yes, that's correct. Takuro, the textbook. Again, like I said before, there should be email maybe from your marketer, from the Japanese marketer that gives you instructions. So please take a look at that, and you should be able to find the material. But getting back to this, guys, it's something every tourist wants to experience, swimming with a dolphin, right? Now, do you guys want to experience swimming with a dolphin? Sounds pretty awesome, right? I would love to swim with a dolphin, and you could reach out and touch the dolphin. Wow, that would be so awesome, right? Okay, so I think paragraph 1, not too hard. So let's move on to paragraph 2, where actually there's a lot of those key words that we looked at in the previous exercise. It says here, now, internet giant TripAdvisor has said it will no longer sell tickets to attractions where travelers come into physical contact with captive, wild, or endangered animals. No, good for them. The attractions include swimming with dolphins, stroking tigers, and elephant rides. It's a policy that many animal welfare charities have welcomed. Stephanie Shaw from PETA, or PETA, says, "We applaud TripAdvisor for helping to raise awareness. Raise awareness. Elephant training, for example, is brutal and cruel." Okay, now this is a very good paragraph, right? And it used a lot of those words that we looked at previously in context. So, the internet giant TripAdvisor, the online travel agency, is not going to sell tickets to attractions where travelers can come into contact with wild animals or endangered animals. Now, of course, yesterday Melanie explained what endangered means, right? And just remember, endangered means that that animal is basically in danger of going extinct, right? And extinct means completely gone, all dead, right? And we're going to talk about extinct animals in the third class today. But yeah, so TripAdvisor doesn't want to sell tickets to attractions where there are wild animals or endangered animals. So that includes things like, they later say, swimming with dolphins, stroking tigers, and elephant rides. Now, all of those things sound really cool. Of course, I would love to swim with dolphins. I would love to pet a tiger. Would I love to pet a tiger? I don't know. That sounds really, really dangerous. And also elephant rides. Yeah, I would like to take an elephant ride, right? But all of these animals are kind of kept in, bad conditions, right? They're captives. So that's why they're not selling these tickets, right? It's a policy that many animal welfare charities have welcomed, right? So welfare charities are charity groups, kind of like an NGO, kind of like a group that is not for profit. They don't make money, but they try to assist somebody or something. In this case, we're talking about the PETA or PETA, which is really famous around the world for trying to protect animals, right? So it says that they applaud TripAdvisor for helping to raise awareness. So they applaud. They're like, hey, good job, TripAdvisor. And thank you for raising awareness. Now, what could that mean, to raise awareness? We know that raise, it's like rise, right? To raise and then awareness, right? If you are raising awareness, you are kind of highlighting an issue, right? Or you're pointing to an issue and you're saying, hey, look at this here, right? This is not good. So in this case, TripAdvisor is banning people from interacting with endangered animals or with wild animals. So they're helping to raise awareness of these issues that certain animals such as elephants or tigers experience, right? So lastly, it says, for helping to raise awareness, elephant training, for example, is brutal and cruel. And we know cruel is very, very mean. It causes fear or pain in people, right? Brutal is kind of similar to that. Brutal is actually a very good word to pick up. Brutal is also an adjective, right? A brutal person, it would describe a person who is maybe very similar to cruel, but also maybe physically violent, right? If we said John is a brutal man, John would maybe be a very scary and maybe physically violent person. But we could also use brutal not only to describe people, but also places as well, right? If you live very far north in Canada, you might experience a brutal winter, right? It's really, really cold and it causes almost physical pain. Not almost, it causes physical pain. If you go to my hometown, Terrace, in the wintertime, right when you step out of the plane and you start breathing in the cold air in my hometown, it will actually really, really hurt, right? All right, now actually Sangcho brought up a very good point here. They said, however, environmentalists kill many jobs. Okay, so that is actually, that's a valid point. That's a really valid point. Sorry guys, I know the board is starting to look messy. I'm not following my Blackboard rules. But anyhow, so that is something we could call a counter argument. Now, sorry guys, I'm writing this right above my head. Counter argument, right? So when you, yeah, no, Sangcho, that's true. I agree with you. Sometimes environmentalist actions do hurt jobs. Of course, there are people who were hired to work with the dolphins or hired to work with the tigers. And if their tourists are no longer coming there, they will lose their job. So Oregon is poor. Oregon. Do you mean Oregon in the United States? Oregon. Yeah, maybe. Okay. But what I'm trying to say here is that's a good counter argument. A counter argument is an argument against somebody's argument, right? Like if I say, what could I say? Democratic countries are the best, right? Democracy is the number one thing. Somebody might say, no, I don't agree with you because democratic countries create a lot of arguments between people, right? And we could say, oh, well, that's an interesting counter argument, right? Anyhow, guys, we're about to take a break. Thank you, Sangcho, for Oregon, Portland, Oregon. All right. Oh, Aileen, may I ask you a question about meaning of intrepid in paragraph 7? Oh, Aileen, okay, yeah, I will get to that, but we'll take a break first. And we'll get to that when we get to paragraph 7. So I'll get back to you. All right, guys, but let's take a break. I'll see you guys again in about 10 minutes. Okay guys, welcome back to PST Live. So we're moving into our second class now. So we're still continuing with the reading article here from The Guardian. Okay, now we finished the second paragraph. So I just want to kind of move on to the third paragraph. Actually, during the break, I kind of realized maybe I'm moving a little bit too slowly. Anyhow, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed your break. I hope you guys got a snack or a drink. So you can watch me and eat something at the same time. Wow, how convenient. Anyhow, guys, so let's take a look at our third paragraph here. It says, around the world, wild animals are at risk from companies who offer new experiences to tourists, right? Often there are no controls. Tigers are sometimes drugged to allow tourists to get close. Elephants are often thoroughly traumatized by violent training. Oh, that sounds really, really bad, right? Okay, so a couple of things here. Around the world, wild animals are at risk, right? They are at risk. To be at risk. What does that mean? Does anybody have an idea, or can anybody give me an example of how to use this term at risk? Okay, I'll give you guys a couple of moments here, but maybe I'll write this on the board. To be at risk. Okay, actually the blue is not working very well. I'll continue with it for a little bit, but then I'll write something else after. Oh, and Eileen, sorry, I didn't forget about your question, but don't worry, we'll get looking at the word intrepid in paragraph 7 when we get to paragraph 7. Anyhow, guys, to be at risk. Now, it said here, wild animals are at risk, right? They're at risk from companies. So if you are at risk, it means you're kind of in danger, right? Something could hurt you, right? So right now, for example, during this coronavirus pandemic, many poor people in Canada or homeless people are at risk because they spend a lot of time outside, right? And they're not the cleanest people, so they are at risk, right? Or somebody who has a weak immune system is at risk of catching the coronavirus, right? Because if you have a weak immune system, it's easier to get it, right? Oh, Sangcho, that looks like a really good example here. So Sangcho said, the current economy is at risk due to the coronavirus. Perfect example, actually. That sentence is perfect, right? I feel like when I'm doing this, I'm like Donald Trump, right? Blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, the current economy is at risk due to the coronavirus. That is a perfect example, right? And also true. The current economy is at risk due to the coronavirus. All right, awesome. Anyhow, guys, so there's at risk here. Now, of course, it says your wild animals are at risk from companies who offer new experiences to tourists. Often there are no controls, right? Maybe nobody is looking at what these companies are doing. Nobody's asking any questions. Tiger, and then we have examples. Tigers are sometimes drugged to allow tourists to get close. So that means that whoever's controlling these tigers are giving the tigers drugs. It could be in their food or it could be through a needle, right? And they are drugging these tigers maybe to make them feel very tired so that tourists are allowed to pet them, right? Or we have another example. Elephants are often thoroughly, and thoroughly is very hard to pronounce actually, thoroughly traumatized by violent training. So I guess the training that a lot of these elephants are put through is really violent. And of course that's really sad because, well, elephants are nice creatures. Anyhow, guys, but let's move on to our fourth paragraph. It says here, Richard Rees from the Maldives Whale Shark Research Program, wow, it's a really long one, says that on some whale shark trips, people are allowed to do what they want. We see touching, riding, flash photography, all sorts of bad practices, right? All sorts of bad common behavior, right? So I guess this research guy, he's been on some of these trips and he's seen people touching or maybe riding these animals and using flash photography And of course, all these things are really bad for wild animals, right? Like I can't imagine if somebody in my hometown captured a bear and drugged them and let tourists ride on the bear. Like, first of all, that's extremely dangerous. And second of all, it's just very cruel, kind of brutal, right? Anyhow, so it's a good thing TripAdvisor is banning this. So let's take a look at our next paragraph, guys. Paragraph 5. TripAdvisor is now the world's largest travel website. It lists 690,000 attractions and contains 385 million reviews. People have been able to buy tickets to the attractions listed on the site since 2014 or 2014. Okay, so this paragraph we have some background information about TripAdvisor and how big of a company they are, right? They sound quite big. They've got the largest travel website, 690,000 attractions, and they got 385 million reviews. Wow, that's a lot, right? And people have been able to buy tickets to the attractions listed on the site since 2014. So they've been in operation for about 6 years now, right? So I guess because TripAdvisor is so big, if they're banning travel to these places where people can interact with animals, I guess it could help, right? So let's move on to our 6th paragraph. Paragraph 6 says, TripAdvisor believes hundreds of businesses could be affected by its decision. It will not say exactly how many or name the companies that will be affected. And although it will not sell tickets to attractions that allow physical interaction with animals, it will continue to list them on the site. Okay, so that's a bit of a balancing act there, right? So this site, TripAdvisor, of course, if it does something like this, if it bans, selling tickets to places where people can interact with wild animals, it could hurt a lot of businesses, right? A lot of businesses may be affected, right? But although it will not sell the tickets, it will continue to list them on the site. So people could still find where to go, but they can't buy a ticket to this place. So I would say it's good for them for not selling the tickets on one hand, but on the other hand, I would also say that, they still list it, right? So because they still list it, I don't know. I think it's a good thing and, well, a good thing and a bad thing, right? Anyhow, guys, just going to erase this here for a second. But I think you guys are okay. So let's move on, guys, to our next paragraph in paragraph 7. Paragraph 7, we got, other travel companies have already stopped selling elephant rides. UK-based student travel firm STA Travel and Adventure, how did I mess that up? And adventure travel company Intrepid have both stopped selling tickets for elephant rides, and STA does not sell tickets to SeaWorld. Okay, so of course it's not just TripAdvisor, right? There are some other sites that are also banning the sale of tickets to these kind of places. So we've got STA and we also have Intrepid, travel company Intrepid. Now, actually, Aileen, are you still there? Aileen, I think you are still there. Okay, now Aileen asked a question. She said, may I ask a question about meaning of intrepid in paragraph 7? Now, so maybe people might be confused about the meaning of intrepid. Now, in this case, intrepid is just the title of this company, right? But intrepid is usually used, well, it's a synonym to like adventurous, right? If somebody is an intrepid explorer, they are an adventurous explorer, right? They kind of go out there, they go very far, they take some risks possibly, right? However, it should be noted that a lot of times when we use the word intrepid to describe somebody, we usually use it as kind of a joke, like, oh, our intrepid leader, right? But actually we're kind of joking. Of course, the meaning would be our leader is adventurous, right? Or he takes risks. But sometimes we use this in a sarcastic way, right? Now you might be thinking, sarcastic way, what does that mean? So actually, let me write down the word sarcastic and sarcasm here. So sarcastic is the adjective, and the noun is sarcasm. Okay, now you might be wondering right now, what is sarcasm? Okay, so sarcasm is basically like a kind of humor. Sometimes people think, oh, it's like, yeah, Sancho, yeah, intrepid, yeah, don't worry, I'm going to talk about it more. That they might think sarcasm is kind of like irony. Kind of, but not really. But sarcasm is basically a kind of humor where when we say something, we actually don't believe it. We think the opposite, right? And there's this kind of body language or gesture we often use in Canada, United States to kind of indicate that we are being sarcastic, right? Sometimes we go like this, and this means basically quotation marks. Like, let's say, for example, my friend gets a new haircut, right? And I look at my friend's new haircut and I think like, oh my God, actually it looks kind of terrible, right? But, you know, so I make a joke. I decide to be sarcastic. I say to my friend, wow, that's a cool haircut. You look so handsome. You look really great, right? So that means that my friend might say, stop being so sarcastic. Or, is that sarcasm? And I might say, yeah, it is, right? So just remember, sarcasm is a kind of humor where we say something but we believe the opposite, right? And if you use a lot of sarcasm, you are a sarcastic person. Anyhow, I can't remember why I'm talking about sarcasm. So, Sancho, we'll get back to intrepid, Allan and Sancho. Just remember, intrepid is basically a synonym of adventurous, right? But in this text here, it's the adventure travel company Intrepid. Intrepid is just the name of this travel company. Sarcasm equals the use of irony to mock or convey contempt. Yeah. All right, so Sancho, yeah, that's the direct definition of sarcasm. And that's true. The use of irony, yeah, it's kind of ironic, but it's not exactly the same thing. But you are right, it is used to mock somebody, usually to kind of make fun of somebody. However, usually with my friends, when I'm being sarcastic, I'm not trying to make them feel bad. It's just a small joke, right? Anyhow, so that is sarcasm, which is a very useful word, and I think a lot of comedians or people who act in comedy movies are usually quite sarcastic people. Anyhow, guys, we better move on though to paragraph 8. Paragraph 8 here says, in addition to a ban on these ticket sales, TripAdvisor is introducing an education portal with information on animal welfare practices and advice and opinion from animal charities. In the future, all listings that involve any interaction with wildlife will have a button that clicks through to the portal. All right. Okay, guys. So basically what TripAdvisor is doing here is adding a education portal. So remember, portal is basically the same thing as links, right? So when you go to their site, if you click on this, it will go to an education portal that will provide you with some information on maybe certain practices that are cruel to animals, like riding elephants or petting tigers that have been drugged, or swimming with dolphins who don't really want to swim with you. Although that sounds sad. I would like to still swim with dolphins, but hopefully in a regular way, right? Anyhow, guys, so yeah, TripAdvisor, they're gonna start making an education portal so that if you maybe click on those things instead, you will be sent to a different place, right? And Hanbyul, sorry, I need to go. Bye. Well, nice to have you with us, Hanbyul. Have a nice day. Talk to you later. All right, guys, but yeah. In future, all listings that involve any interaction with wildlife will have a button that clicks through to the portal. I think we're good. Okay, guys, so let's move on to paragraph 9. The possible effects of TripAdvisor's policy may be big. Okay. Elephant riding in northern Thailand, for example, brings a lot of money into a poor area. And the elephant camps of Chiang Mai might suffer, but other attractions such as SeaWorld, notorious for its 29 orcas, will be unaffected. Okay, so guys, let's think about this paragraph here. So we're talking about the effects of TripAdvisor's policy, right? The policy of banning sales to places where people could interact with animals in a negative way. So they're also saying here, elephant riding in northern Thailand, for example, brings a lot of money into these poor areas. So I guess this area in northern Thailand where they allow people to ride elephants is quite poor. So maybe if they stop this, if they ban it, it's going to affect a lot of poor Thai people. So yeah, Thailand's the name of the country. And when we talk about people from Thailand, we call them Thai. That's the common adjective, right? Thai food, Thai people, Thai cars. Anyhow. So in the future, anyhow. And the elephant camps of Chiang Mai might suffer, but other attractions such as SeaWorld, notorious for its 29 orcas, will be unaffected. Now, maybe you guys don't know what SeaWorld is. SeaWorld is quite a big company. I believe it's from the United States, and they have a number of different aquariums, right? And they're very famous for their whale shows or dolphin shows or something like that. But more recently, especially in the past 10 years, many people have been protesting against SeaWorld because they don't think whales or dolphins should be living in captivity. They shouldn't be captives, right? And yeah, they're notorious for their 29 orcas. So orcas are a kind of whale, and people really don't believe that they should be in captivity, right? And thus they are notorious. They're famous, but for something bad. Okay guys, moving on to paragraph 10. It says here, Danny Groves of the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Society says, this is a positive step, but it does not deal with the problem of promoting trips to see whales and dolphins that are held captive. Okay, so Mr. Danny Groves here, he's from the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Society. Now, conservation, when we use the term conservation, we're talking about conserving something. And when we conserve something, we're trying to protect something, right? A conservation is an area where things are kind of protected. So Danny Groves, like his whole life, his career is about protecting whales and dolphins. So he says this is a positive step, but it does not deal with the problem of promoting trips to see whales and dolphins that are held captive. Okay, so I think what Danny is trying to say here is that yes, this is good on one hand because they're banning the sale of tickets to those areas, but if you guys can remember in the other paragraph, it did say that they're still listing those areas on their website, they're just not selling the tickets, right? So he says it does not deal with the problem of promoting, right? And I think everybody here knows promote. Promote is like to advertise something, right? It doesn't stop promoting trips to see whales and dolphins that are held captive. Okay, so kind of mixed reviews here, right? Some good reviews and some bad things, right? On one hand, this is good, but on the other hand, this part is not so good, right? So we could say, yeah, less tourists will go to these places and interact with animals that have been drugged or abused. That's great, that's a positive, but on the other hand, it doesn't stop promoting these places. And secondly, like I said in the previous paragraph here, a lot of these places are in poor areas. So a lot of people in those poor areas may lose their jobs, right? And then it will cause economic problems. Like Sancho brought up recently, he said like, you know, environmentalists kill many jobs, right? And I half agree with that. Sometimes I think they do, sometimes they don't, but sometimes people think, wow, this is a great idea, but it has unintended consequences or unexpected effects, right? Anyhow, guys, let's take a look at our last paragraph here, paragraph 11. It says, Steve McIver of World Animal Protection, which has worked with TripAdvisor, added, we hope TripAdvisor will soon also realize that it has to stop selling tickets to all cruel wildlife attractions, such as SeaWorld. Until then, we will give the best education we can on TripAdvisor's website to stop people wanting to visit cruel places like these. Okay, so again, that's kind of reinforcing the previous paragraph with Steve McIver of this other group, World Animal Protection. He's saying like, okay, like we hope they will change their ways and stop selling tickets to places like SeaWorld, which is a very well-established place, because they think that even SeaWorld is quite cruel and maybe brutal, right? So it sounds like overall in this article, like TripAdvisor is doing a good thing, but a lot of people are saying it doesn't go far enough, right? Like, yes, it's good to stop the ban of sales to these certain places, but they didn't ban SeaWorld, and they didn't stop listing these places, right? But another negative effect, which was mentioned, is that a lot of these tourist sites where people are allowed to interact with wild animals provide jobs to poor people, and if they get hurt, then they're going to lose a lot of jobs. So anyhow, guys, I hope that you guys have that article and have read over it. Aileen, are you still there? Did you have any more questions about Intrepid? Intrepid? No, just remember Intrepid Traveler, you know, very adventurous and going on an intrepid trip. Going on an intrepid trip. I've never used it that way. Honestly, I don't use the word intrepid too much, and usually when I do, I'm being sarcastic. Anyhow, guys, what we should do though is we got to move on with this. We've got to take a look at some comprehension questions. So we've got some true or false questions in number 3, and this is just to check for comprehension. So I'm going to read the first question and see if you guys can get an answer. If not, I will provide you guys with the answer. So anyhow, it says, are these statements true or false? Correct any that are false. Okay, so not just true or false, but also we have to correct it. Okay, so let's take a look at number 1, guys. We've got TripAdvisor is planning to stop selling tickets to all tourist attractions that have wild animals. Okay, think about that here. TripAdvisor is planning to stop selling tickets to all tourist attractions that have wild animals. Is this true or is this false? Anybody got an answer? No answer yet. That's okay. Maybe you wrote something down. Maybe you don't want to type F or T. Okay. All right. So thinking about this together, guys. Actually, the answer to number 1 here is F. It is false, right? Now, we know that TripAdvisor did stop selling tickets to tourist attractions where people are allowed to interact with wild animals, where they can ride an elephant or pet a tiger or okay, Sancho, sorry, your answer just came up and you said true. Okay, but I already wrote down false, but let me try to explain why. So yeah, they did ban the sale of tickets to places where people could ride an elephant, pet a tiger, or swim with a dolphin, right? Or swim with a tiger. Swim with a tiger? What? Wow. Just kidding. Anyhow, but the answer here is false. Now, why is it false? Okay, yes, they're planning to stop selling those tickets, but they're not stopping, you know, the sale of tickets to all places where people can see wild animals, right? Because they even mentioned in the last paragraph that TripAdvisor is not stopping the sale of tickets to SeaWorld, right? And at SeaWorld, you could see lots of wild animals, you know, penguins, dolphins, whales, etc. So this is actually, it looks like it's true, but it's not actually true. They're just stopping the sale of tickets to places where people can interact with the wild animals, right? Where they can pet an elephant or ride a tiger. Oh no, sorry. Where they can pet a tiger and ride an elephant, right? Anyhow, so yeah, no, unfortunately the answer is false. I hope that makes sense. But let's move on to number 2. All right, so number 2 we've got here. In some of these places, animals are treated cruelly and they may even be drugged so that tourists can get close to them. So in some of these places where people can interact with animals, the animals are treated very cruelly, and they may have been drugged so that people can touch them and pet them. What do you guys think? Is this true or is this false? Okay, I'll give you guys a moment. Can you guys get an answer for me? Is it true? Is it false? What could this be? Okie dokie. Well, basically, guys, I think number 2 is a very simple one. It's a pretty simple question. The answer is true, obviously, right? Because if you guys remember, or if you take a look back at the article, where was it? Paragraph 3. In the middle of paragraph 3 it says, yes, good, Sangcho, you got it. Yeah, in the middle of paragraph 3 it says, tigers are sometimes drugged to allow tourists to get close, and elephants are often thoroughly traumatized by violent training, right? So yeah, in some of these places, animals are treated quite cruelly, and some of them may be drugged. So yeah, we gotta go with true. Okay, but let's move on, guys. Number 3 here. Number 3, we've got some tourists behave badly, touching the animals, trying to ride them, and taking photos with a flash. Okay, so again, is it true or is it false? Some tourists, they're behaving badly. They're touching the animals. They're trying to ride them. And they're taking pictures with a flash. All right. Now, obviously, if you guys don't know whether it's true or false, take a quick look back at the article here. What can we find here? Can we find any evidence? Okay, guys. So I recommend taking a look at paragraph 4, right? In paragraph 4, kind of in the middle of this paragraph again, says people are allowed to do what they want. We see touching, riding, flash photography, all sorts of bad practices. Okay, and Sangcho, good. Yes, you're right. The answer here is true. Some of the tourists are doing bad stuff. Whoops, what am I doing here? Writing number 3 again. Some of the tourists are doing bad stuff. They're riding the animals. They're touching them. They're taking pictures right in front of their face and, just being rude. So, yes, that's good. Number 3 is definitely true. But actually, that's not good. That's bad. We shouldn't touch animals. We shouldn't touch wild animals. Anyhow, take a look at number 4, guys. We've got TripAdvisor plans a new education portal with information on animal welfare practices, as well as advice and opinions from animal charities. Okay, now some of you guys are already answering here, and I know Sangcho, you already wrote down true. Yes, you're right. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Sorry guys, the black marker, it looks like it is dying. Yeah, it looks like it's dying. It is an endangered black marker. It's going extinct. Oh my god. Okay, sorry black marker. You are dead. So I'm going to switch to blue, guys. I know blue's not so good, but we're going to have to make do with it. Yeah, at least it's a little bit stronger than the black one. Okay. So yeah, number 4 is true. Like throughout that article, they mentioned a lot of different charity groups, but they also mentioned that TripAdvisor was creating that education portal and that had information on animal welfare practices. So number 4 is true. Good. Okay, number 5, guys. TripAdvisor will also stop listing all attractions that allow tourists to touch wild animals. Number 5, this one is quite a bit harder. So what we might need to do, guys, is take a look back in the article here. And people have been able to buy tickets. Okay, guys. To find an answer to number 6, what you should do is take a look at paragraph 6, about halfway through. It says, and although it will not sell tickets to attractions that allow physical interaction with animals, it will continue to list them on the site. So let's think back about that question. TripAdvisor will also stop listing all attractions that allow tourists to touch wild animals. No, unfortunately, that is false. Now, why is that false? It's false because they will still list the attraction. They just won't sell the tickets, right? And that's why people were complaining. That's why there were some complaints in the article about TripAdvisor. They said, please read the question again. Okay, Sangcho, no problem. TripAdvisor will also stop listing all attractions that allow tourists to touch wild animals. Wait a second. Yeah, you're right, Sangcho. I should have read the question again. TripAdvisor will also stop. Didn't list them on. Please read the question again. Oh yeah, what am I saying? No, yeah, it is false. It is false. I said it's false. Ooh, yeah. Sorry, Sangcho, you're confusing me a little bit. But yeah, sorry. Let's take a look at number 5 again, just so I can kind of get my bearings here. TripAdvisor will also stop listing all attractions that allow tourists to touch wild animals. Yeah, no, sorry, this is not true. This is false, right? And it's false because they stopped the sale of tickets to these places where people can touch animals, but they're still listing them. So if you guys take a look back at paragraph 6, halfway through, it will continue to list them on the site. Ugh, right? So come on, TripAdvisor. You're doing good, but you could do better. All right, guys, but let's move on to our last one here, our last comprehension question, number 6. It has been criticized for continuing to sell tickets to other wildlife attractions where no physical contact with the animals is allowed, but cruel practices still continue. Okay, guys, so I'll give you guys a second to come up with an answer for number 6. Now, if you think about the reading, there were multiple paragraphs where certain animal charities were still kind of complaining about TripAdvisor, right? If you guys can remember. So for example, like paragraph 10 says, Danny Groves of the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Society says, this is a positive step, but it does not deal with the problem of promoting trips to see whales and dolphins that are held captive. And also in paragraph 11, Steve McIver of the World Animal Protection Group said, we hope TripAdvisor will soon also realize that it has to stop selling tickets to all cruel wildlife attractions, such as SeaWorld. Until then, we will give the best education we can to stop people from wanting to visit cool places like this, right? Okay, Sangcho, please read the question again. Sangcho, are you talking about number 5 or? Okay, please specify, Sangcho, which question you're talking about, and I'll take a look at that. But with question 6, we know that the answer here, that a lot of people have been complaining about TripAdvisor, even though they have banned the site. So we know that this is actually true, right? Because TripAdvisor is still selling tickets to places like SeaWorld, where conservation groups believe the practices there are kind of cruel, right? But Sangcho, I think you're wondering about number 6? Okay, yeah, I will read the question again. It has been criticized for continuing to sell tickets to other wildlife attractions where no physical contact with the animals is allowed, but cruel practices still continue. Okay, guys, and I said that was true because in the paragraphs that we just took a look at, some conservation groups said they're still selling tickets to, for example, places like SeaWorld, where people are not allowed to touch animals at SeaWorld, right? Like you can't just go to SeaWorld and start touching a penguin or, like pet a whale or something. You don't actually touch them, but there are some cruel things that happen to whales or orcas or dolphins or penguins in SeaWorld, right? And if we think about it, it's pretty obvious. Like the whales, they're kept in this place where they can swim around, but it's not so big, right? So it's kind of a cruel practice. Okay, guys, so we're done our comprehension check, More important than that is actually number 4, because here you'll actually learn something more important, because we're going to take a look at collocations, right? Collocations are like word pairings, right? So this stuff is actually pretty useful. I think this could be pretty easy for you guys, honestly, but taking a look, number 4a, it says match the words to make collocations from the article. Okay, so if we take a look here, like for example, number 1, what do we got here? Okay, now actually I should write down number 3. Ooh, that blue ain't so good. I gotta get another marker. We'll wait until the break though. But what do you pronounce cool and cool fast? Okay. Yeah, essentially, no problem. All right, right. Cruel and cool. Ooh. So when you're thinking of pronouncing, or the difference between pronouncing cruel and cool, it does sound pretty similar, but you gotta put that, like for cruel, you gotta put that emphasis on the R, right? Cruel. Ooh, well, actually, no, not so much, but cruel. Cruel. Think about cool. Cool. Ooh. Cool, right? Cruel. That's cruel. That's not cool. Ooh. Yeah, they do sound very similar, but it is different, right? Cruel. Cool. The weather is quite cool. He's a really cool guy. I like that place. It's very cool. Ooh, right? But I don't like Kim Jong-un. He's a pretty cruel guy. That place is terrible. I think that man is cruel, right? I think Hitler was a very cruel man. Cruel. Does that help? I hope that helps, because I feel kind of foolish now for doing that. All right. Anyhow, I hope that helped though, Sangcho. Yeah, just remember, like with cool especially, like you want to make that ooh sound, right? Cool, cruel, right? Okay. Anyhow, guys. Number 4, the collocations here. So let's take a look. On the left-hand side, we've got animal, positive, physical, education, and raise, right? On the right-hand side, we've got terms like awareness, contact, portal, step, and welfare. So basically what you want to do here is you want to think about the words on the left and match them up with the word on the right so that they make sense as a pair. Oh, Sangcho, no problem. That's part of my job, right? I got to do it. Anyway, so let's take about these collocations in number 4. And number 1, we've got, okay, animal. Okay, now let's take a look at the list that we got on the right. Now, letter A, we've got awareness. So, would it be animal awareness? Sounds like a good term, but we don't really say things like animal awareness. Now, remember, this is going to match up with the term on the right that we did see in the article, right? Animal awareness, unfortunately, no, doesn't really make sense. Animal contact, again, it kind of makes sense, but it's not something that we looked at in the reading, right? Animal contact, you know, every time I see a cat on the street, it's animal contact. Hey, kitty, how you doing? I'm going to pet you. So no, we're not looking for animal contact. Is it animal portal? Wow, animal portal, that sounds really cool. It's like a portal transporting you to a world with many animals. No, it's not animal portal. Is it animal step? That also sounds kind of funny. That brought up an image of a cat, you know, walking around. Animal step. No, it's not animal step. So what are we looking for here? We're looking for, you know, and this was mentioned in the article many times, animal welfare. The well-being of animals. So we should match this up with E, welfare. Animal welfare, the well-being of animals. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, guys. And if you look back in the article, you'll find many examples of that. So let's take a look at number 2. Number 2, we have positive, right? Now, we already know it's not welfare, right? So is it positive awareness? No. Is it positive contact? No, but those terms do make sense. Positive portal, a link to something positive. That sounds very nice. Maybe you're online, you go to this portal, and then you go to a positive portal, and it's just somebody saying like, you're the best, you're number one, I'm gonna praise you and applaud, all right, positive portal. No, it's not positive portal. So what is it? Thinking back, guys, I want to take a quick look at the article here. If you guys take a look quickly or briefly at paragraph 10, Danny Groves of the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Society says this is a positive step, but it does not deal with the problems, etc., etc. So yeah, we're looking for step. Positive plus, wait, what letter was that? D. Positive step, right? A positive step. So a positive step is like you are enacting a policy or you're starting something and you're moving in the right direction, right? You're moving in a good direction. You're moving in a positive way, right? Like let's say recently, you know, because of coronavirus, you're just staying at home and you're spending too much time watching TV and eating cookies and eating snacks, or maybe you're living in Korea and like you're eating too much, oh, I can't remember the name, the shrimp chips. Shrimp chips. Damn, what was the name of shrimp chips? They're really good. You're eating too many shrimp chips and tteokbokki and duck galbi and lots of good food. But you're gaining weight, right? You're getting a little bit fat, right? And then you think, oh my God, I gained too much weight. I need to lose weight. So you start drinking water more often. You start working out. We could say that's a positive step. You're moving in the right direction, right? So yeah, that's a positive step. Okay, let's take a look at number 3, guys. What's our next collocation? We got the term physical. Okay, physical. Okay, so we know it's not physical portal. Well, do we know it's not physical portal? No, we don't know that. It could be physical portal, but it isn't physical portal. All right. Is it physical step? No. Is it physical welfare? No. So it's either got to be portal, contact, or awareness. Now, throughout the reading article here, they often talked about physical what? Physical contact, right? To have physical contact with somebody. If you have physical contact with someone, that means you're like right next to them, you know, you could touch them, right? Or you did touch them, you touched their shoulder, for example. So physical contact, B, contact, you know. I know different cultures have different levels of physical contact. If there are any Brazilian students watching right now, I believe in Brazil, compared to Canada, people physically contact and physically touch each other much more than they do here. But I know if you're living in like Korea, you don't have as much physical contact. I don't believe it's common to hug your friends so much, like sometimes people do here. But anyhow, physical contact. All right, guys, number 4. Ooh, and I'm going to be blocking the board, but don't worry, this won't be on the board for too long. Education, right? Okay, this one is too simple. We know that the answer here is education portal because that term popped up so often. So our answer here is plus C, portal. And just remember that's like an education link. All right, and by process of elimination, we already know the answer for number 5, raise, and actually we talked about this term earlier. It is raise awareness. Okay, so yeah, we're good to raise awareness. So actually, that's maybe the most useful collocation here. Although I'd really like positive step, to take a positive step in the right direction. That is a really good term. And to raise awareness, I would say both of those, and physical contact, of course, as well, are more useful than number 4 and number 1, education portal or animal welfare. These are terms you're not going to be using so much. I can't see the letters on the board. Okay, hi Angela, sorry. I will move out of the way. I hope you can see it. Or maybe Angela, you're talking about on this side here. Okay, but I'll stand here for a little bit. To raise awareness, we already know that means to draw attention to something or to highlight something, like an issue, right? Okay, so Angela, you are Angela, or Angela, me? Me, Angela? No, you? Oh, terrible joke. Sorry, Angela. Anyhow, guys, so those are our collocations. Now, we're going to use them in B here really quickly. In B, says, now use the collocations to complete these sentences. In Western America, people don't like it. Oh, Sangcho, yeah, that's a very interesting point. In Midwestern America, people don't like physical contact. Actually, yes, Sangcho, that's very true. Now, I know that a lot of people, when they think of North American, like Canadian and American people, they tend to stereotype them. They want personal distance. That's also good. Yeah, they tend to stereotype them and think, oh, all Western people like to hug and kiss each other, and, you know, lots of touching. You know, like I see my friend, I'm like, hey, Steve, how's it going? Let me hug you and let me touch you, you know. I don't want to touch Steve. I don't know where Steve's been. Steve, you know, he's not the cleanest guy. But anyhow, what Sangcho is saying here, yeah, Midwestern America, Minnesota, these kind of places, people don't like physical contact. That's true. Also, my hometown is very different from where I'm living right now in Vancouver. People in Vancouver are kind of touchy-feely because of the reflection. Oh, sorry, Angela. Because of the reflection of light. Okay, Angela, I might not be able to fix that now, but maybe for later, for tomorrow or something, that should be okay. So sorry about that, Angela. But getting back to the point I was making before, yeah, not all Western people like physical contact with each other like we are stereotyped. Also, if you think about people in European countries, Northern European countries in particular, England, Germany, Sweden, don't touch each other too much. And also my hometown, like I said, we shake hands with each other, and that's about it. The only person I hug is my mom and my wife. I don't really want to hug my friends, right? Because like I said, you know, I don't know Steve, my friend Steve. I don't know where he's been. I don't really trust him. Don't want to touch him too much. Anyhow, guys, sorry. We got to move quickly because we're running out of time. So let's take a look, guys, at B here. Use the collocations to complete these sentences. Okay, number 1, TripAdvisor hopes to blank blank about the bad conditions some captive animals live in. Okay, so what does TripAdvisor want to do? TripAdvisor hopes to positive step about the bad conditions that animals live in. TripAdvisor wants to education portal. No, that doesn't really make sense. Now, it looks like we need a verb here, right? So which one? This answer should be actually kind of easy because we need a verb. TripAdvisor hopes to, here's my hint, guys, they need to, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? They need to raise awareness, right? They need to raise awareness about the bad conditions that some captive animals live in. Okay, so if you were thinking raise awareness, good job. I can praise you. I can applaud you. Okay, so moving on to number 2. It is going to stop selling tickets to attractions that allow tourists blank blank with animals. Okay, now we know that in the article it often talked about TripAdvisor not selling tickets to people who want to touch animals, So which of our collocations here would be related to that? Of course, that would be physical contact, right? So it's going to stop selling tickets to attractions that allow tourists physical contact with animals. Okay. Number 3, guys. Blank blank charities have applauded TripAdvisor's decision. So it's not physical contact. It's not raise awareness. Is it animal welfare, positive step, or education portal? Anybody got an idea? Of course, what are we talking about? We're talking about animal welfare charities have applauded or praised TripAdvisor's decision. Okay. Now, number 4, some people see this as a blank blank, but they say it does not go far enough. Now, this goes back to a point I was making before. You know, some things are positive, some things are negative. So some people see this as a positive step. but they say it does not go far enough. Okay. And lastly, of course, we already know the answer for this one, but TripAdvisor aims to provide more information about cruel practices on its new, just think of it, it's online, it would be a education portal. Okay, guys. All right, now, we don't have a lot of time left. Looks like we got about a minute or two here. But we did almost complete this entire article here. The last part in part 5 is just a quick discussion. It says, do you think TripAdvisor has made the right decision? Why or why not? Now, of course, you guys can't actually give me a really quick answer here, right? Because it would take some time to type out. But for myself, do I think TripAdvisor has made the right decision? I would say yes, they have, but I kind of agree it doesn't go far enough. And I do worry about the negative economic impact that this would have on people living in poor places that depend on those jobs. But I do think, like people said, it's a step in the right direction, right? It's a positive step. All right, the second question here is, what else can be done to stop tourists visiting attractions that are cruel to wild animals? We got to take a break, but really quickly, I would just say education is key, right? Education is very important. I think in elementary schools, high schools, etc., they should be telling people about the dangers of interacting closely with animals, the damage that it does to the animals and to the environment, and the damage that it can also do with humans, right? We shouldn't really be petting tigers. And we shouldn't be telling kids that they can, interact with tigers. That's teaching them something really dangerous, right? Or like, there are a lot of people that go to the Rocky Mountains in Canada and they try to interact with bears because maybe they saw cartoon bears on TV and they think, oh, bears are really cute. Yeah, bears are cute, but they'll also kill you. So I think education is important, right? Anyhow, guys, I am going to take a break. You guys take a break too. Go pee, get some tea, or drink some tea and then go pee, and I'll see you in 10 minutes. didn't exactly completely finish off the reading article, but you know, we briefly looked at those discussion questions and I gave my personal opinion, but it'd be good if you guys thought of your own personal opinions at home, because they might be different from me, and that's okay. But what we're going to do next, guys, we're going to take a look at this next one here, animals, the dodo bird. And I'm sure you guys probably already know about the dodo bird. For some reason, the dodo bird is quite famous, and I think that's around the world, but maybe it's just in Canada and America. I'm not so sure, right? So this is going to be a quick listening exercise, guys, but before we actually listen to this, we've got some stuff to do first, and we have some warm-up questions. Now, I'm just going to try to model how I would answer these orally, right? So we've got warm-up question number 1. It says, what is the most famous extinct animal? What is the most famous extinct animal? I think it really depends on what country or culture you come from, right? Like I just said, like in Canada and America, if somebody asked me this question, I would say, you know, basically it's just the title of this listening activity, the dodo bird. For whatever reason, it's just by far the most famous extinct animal. However, maybe if you're from Korea or Japan, maybe you guys have a different answer. And maybe it's related to an animal that is extinct in your country, right? So I just want to give you guys a moment. What is the most famous extinct animal in your opinion, right? Whether you're in Korea or Japan. I'll give you guys a second here. Wait for an answer. What is the answer? Or maybe you're in Brazil. I don't know in Brazil. I don't know if there are. I think in Brazil you guys have a lot of wildlife, so I don't think there are many extinct animals in Brazil, right? But I do know in Korea's case, anyhow, that you guys did have kind of a large population of tigers in the past, right? Because I know there's that famous story about the tiger and the bear and the human, and somebody turned into a prince or princess. I can't really remember how it goes. But anyhow, I would guess for a lot of Korean people, maybe the most famous extinct animal would be tigers in Korea. Although that's just in Korea, that's not worldwide. But anyhow, so for me, for number 1 though, I would say, maybe I'll just model my answer writing here. I would say the dodo bird is the most famous extinct animal, right? The dodo bird is, and maybe I'll try to add an expression here, is by far the most famous extinct animal. Okay, dodo bird is by far the most extinct animal. Now, the reason why I underlined by far is because when we add by far, we're really emphasizing something, or we're adding kind of some push to it, right? So you're really emphasizing here that is the most famous animal, and it is by far. The second most famous extinct animal is not nearly as famous as the dodo bird, at least in Canada and the United States. So guys, let's take a look at number 2. Well, I don't know if I can really answer this one, because I'm not an expert on extinct and endangered animals, but it says here, why do animals go extinct? That's a tough one, right? Why do animals go extinct? Why do certain animals or groups of animals go extinct? Why do they all die, right? It's really hard to say, but probably the number 1 reason why is probably because of humans, because maybe we are eating them for food, or we are hunting them for a trophy, maybe for their fur, or like in Africa, a lot of people will hunt things like elephants for their tusks, for the ivory, and I believe it's popular to kill the elephants, cut off the tusks, and sell them to people in China, I believe, really like ivory. But yeah, I would guess the number 1 reason why animals go extinct is because of humans, whether we're hunting them or doing something bad to them. I think the second biggest reason is probably something that people have been talking a lot about in the past, especially 10 years, but it's been 20, 30 years. Probably the second biggest reason is climate change, right? Because climate change is changing animals' habitats, right? So for example, you guys all know what polar bears are, right? Polar bears live on the north or in the North Pole or northern Canada, Greenland. I think that's about it. I don't think they live in Norway or northern Sweden. Could be wrong there though. But anyhow, those animals are becoming endangered, right? They're not extinct, but maybe 50 years in the future, 100 years in the future, maybe they will be extinct, right? Because their habitat is shrinking, like literally shrinking, because the polar ice caps in the North Pole are shrinking because it's getting too warm, right? So anyhow, for number 2, why do animals go extinct? I basically only have 2 answers. Maybe you guys have more ideas, but I'm going to say here the number 1 reason why they are going extinct is because, okay, now I'm going to be lazy and I'll teach you guys this too. If you write B/C, it's shorthand for because, is because of humans, right? And what I mean there, of course, is because maybe we're hunting them, right? But I'm going to include my second reason as well. The number, or actually not the number 2. That sounds kind of weird. But number 1, this is commonly used when you're explaining an argument. You want to say this is the most important reason why. You say the number 1 reason why is because of, Q or Y or X or Z, right? The second biggest reason is climate change. Now, of course, instead of climate change, I could also say global warming. Those 2 terms are basically synonymous with each other or synonyms of each other. They have very similar meaning, right? Okay, now, again, these are just my reasons why. You guys might have a completely different idea, right? But that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so let's take a look at our third point here. Can you name some birds that cannot fly? Can you guys name some birds that cannot fly? Oh, geez. Ugh. Can I name some birds that cannot fly? Well, I can think of 2 domesticated birds that cannot fly, right? And those 2, of course, because domesticated means they have been controlled, or we have gotten them under control, at least humans have gotten them under control. I can think of 2 pretty delicious birds that do not fly. You guys know what they are? What are 2 birds that are domesticated and delicious? Yum, 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 yum. Hopefully, I'm going to eat one of these birds tonight. That sounds really bad, but once I write it down, you guys will understand. Anybody? Back. Yeah, okay, yeah, Sangcho, hen. Yes, hen is the female one, right? But in general, we just call it chicken, right? Although hen is, yeah, correct too, right? What I'm thinking here are, wait. Yeah, no, chickens don't fly. Chickens definitely don't fly, but the other one I'm thinking of, I'm not entirely sure. So I would say, yeah, chicken. Why is this not working? Okay, chickens and I'm also thinking of the name of a bird that is also pretty delicious, but it's more of an acquired taste. An acquired taste means like you have to eat this or drink this a couple of times before you like it. Okay, actually, Sungcho, you gave me an answer there. Awesome. You said, actually, I'm going to erase and because I'm going to write more than two. Sungcho mentioned ducks. Chickens, ducks. Awesome. All right, all right. Yes, that's good. That's good. Ducks. And I'm going to add one more. But this one starts with T. And it's also the name of a country. But I believe they don't eat these in that country. And I don't know why that country has the same name as these or why we named this bird after this country. Oh, that's okay, Sungcho. Don't worry about it. That's totally fine. Has anybody got an idea? An animal, a bird, starts with a T. We eat this, or commonly eat this, at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and sometimes Easter. It is pretty yummy, and I'm pretty sure they don't fly, because they're actually quite large birds. They have a big body, a big abdomen. Of course, I'm talking about, anybody? Yeah, turkey. Turkey. When I was traveling, I went to Turkey and I ate some turkey. Yeah, that's a bad joke. All right, so yeah, chickens, ducks, and turkey. Oops, turkeys. That looks wrong though, but we wouldn't put an IES. Anyhow, and I'm going to write etc. because honestly, I'm not too sure. There are probably some other birds that can fly, or sorry, cannot fly, but I am totally unaware of. But I do know chickens, ducks, and turkeys, yes, they do not fly. And hopefully, I will be eating some chicken tonight. I hope. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, so these are our pre-listening discussion questions, or our warm-up questions. We thought a little bit. We're going to be thinking about the dodo bird. But one more quick thing we need to do before we really get into listening to this, and that is looking at some key vocabulary here. Now, the key vocabulary here, Sungcho, ostrich. Yeah, you're totally right. That's true. Ostriches do not fly. That's a good answer. And I think ostrich eggs are supposed to be really delicious. And maybe ostriches are delicious. I don't know. But yeah, good one. Now, but sorry, I'm too lazy to add that to the list, but ostrich. O-S-T-R-I-C-H. Ost and rich. They're quite rich in flavor. Anyhow, guys, let's take a look at the key vocabulary here. What do we got? The first word we have is significant. Significant. Okay, what does significant mean? Does anybody know the meaning of significant? Now, while you guys are thinking, I'm just going to erase the board here. I think this has been up long enough. So I'll erase this here. What is the meaning of significant? Right? Does anybody know the meaning of significant? Okay, looks like nobody exactly knows right now. I'm pretty sure you guys know. But the meaning of significant, of course, is basically just means very important, right? So, significant. Why am I writing it on the board? I'm not too sure why. Significant. Basically means very important, right? So if we say something is significant, we're saying that's really important, right? Somebody might ask you, what is a significant point in your life? Or when did you meet your significant other? Oh yeah, Sanko, you have a question. Yes, please go ahead. Please write the question down. I'm just going to write something on the board. Sometimes we use the term significant other, right? You might be thinking, well, what does that mean? If you think about it, it means like very important other. But basically, significant other is your partner, right? Your life partner. Whether that is your wife, boyfriend, husband, girlfriend, etc., right? You can refer to them as your significant other. But yes, Senko, please shoot. How many does significant have syllables? Okay. How many syllables does significant have? All right, well, let's think about this, guys. How many syllables does the term or the word significant have? So think about it. Significant. Significant. You can't do it, right? So significant. 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 Yes, so it actually has 4 syllables. Significant. There we go. All right, hope I answered your question. All right, guys, but now we know significant means very important, and you can also use the term significant other. Oh, Sarah is my significant other. She's my girlfriend or wife or whatever, right? Or Emily's significant other is named Brian, right? Cool. Let's take a look at the next term here. We have off the coast of. Now, I'm not going to write this on the board. Not incredibly useful. Like significant is a really useful adjective, right? But off the coast of. Okay, so we know the coast is the land that borders the water, right? Like kind of like beach is a coast, right? Or Canada has a very long coastline because we're a big country. But also Japan has a long coastline. We think 5. How would, oh, sorry, so Sancho thinks there are 5 syllables in significant. 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 Where would you get the 5th syllable? Significant. 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 I think if you're adding a sound here after the G, it would have 5 syllables, but I would say that's wrong. I'd say it's significant. 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 It is wrong. Sorry, Sancho. I don't know if you mean that I'm wrong or you're wrong. Either way, I'd say I really believe it has 4 syllables. Significant. Yeah. Anyhow, sorry guys. Getting back to off the coast of. Off the coast of. So we know what the coastline is, right? Japan has a very long coastline, but off the coast of means something is located off the coast of this country, right? You think sig has 2 syllables. Sig. Significant. You think sig has 2 syllables. Sorry, Sancho, that's interesting, but I'd say I disagree with you, because if you pronounce sig, S-I-G, with 2 syllables, it's going to be sig, right? Oh, you are right. Oh, thank you. That's a good question, though. Maybe it's like if you said like sig, significant. Yeah, then it would be 5 syllables, but it wouldn't sound very good. Yeah, because you say significant, right? If you say it quickly, it's not bad. Anyhow, yeah, no worries, no problem. Anyhow, off the coast of means something is located away from the coast. If we say the plane is off the coast of Hawaii, that means the plane, the location is not in Hawaii, not at the coast, but off the coast, right? But maybe kind of close, right? Or, if you guys know about Canada really well, and probably you don't, but so of course I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, one of the provinces in Canada on the west coast, the Pacific coast of Canada. Now, off the coast of British Columbia, or off the coast of Vancouver, there is Vancouver Island, right? It's not in BC, it's kind of far away, it's off the coast. Anyhow, guys, let's take a look at the next term. Here we have remain. You guys probably already know the meaning of remain. I'm not going to write it down here because, again, I think this is a little bit too easy, but to remain somewhere is to stay there, right? That's all it basically means. Like, to remain, like we often use this kind of as a command, right? Maybe to a child or to somebody else. Might say, please remain here, right? Please stay here, right? Or somebody like a security guard or a policeman might say, like, sir, remain here. Don't leave, right? Stay here. So remain and stay have a very similar meaning, right? Okay, but we'll look at, the next term is kind of a little bit more interesting, a little bit spicy, right? lived off of. Yeah, that makes sense, Sancho. When we pronounce it with 5 syllables, Americans don't understand. Yeah, I don't think Canadians... Yeah, I think I might understand, but I would still think it sounds kind of weird. But anyhow, guys, lived off of. Lived off of. Okay. Lived off of. This is a good term. This is kind of useful, right? If you live off of something, it means that you need this thing or this person in order to survive. Maybe it's a food source, or for most humans, like if we live off of something, it means it provides us with enough money to live, right? So if we said, you know, for example, maybe an example is best. Let's say here, John, you know, John's kind of the standard English name that we use for examples, right? John lives off of his parents. And he is 42. Oh my God, John. All right, guys, so John lives off of his parents and he is 42. So John basically relies on his parents for money, for his basic survival, and he is 42. Oh, John, that's pretty shameful, right? So of course the meaning here is John kind of relies on money from his parents, right? But if we're talking about an animal, usually when we use live off, we'd be talking about their food source, right? So bears live off of berries, rabbits, squirrels, deer, salmon. Well, in Canada especially, they eat a lot of salmon actually, etc., right? Or I live off of my salary, for example. I think, of course, most adults who are working live off of their salary. Okay, so that's lived off of, right, guys? Let's take a look at the next term, sailor. Oh, very simple, sailor. What is a sailor, right? Of course, well, actually, it's not always military. But usually when I think of a sailor, I think of people who work in the Navy, right? Not the Army, not the Air Force, but the Navy, people who work on boats. But sailors are not just people in the Navy, they're just anybody who works on a boat, and they go from one place to another. Now, not to be confused with a fisherman, right? Because a fisherman is somebody who works on a fishing boat. They go out, they catch fish, they bring them back, yum yum. But a sailor, of course, is going on a boat from somewhere to another place, right? So I think when I was a kid, I had a dream of being a sailor, right? And sailing to some other country or something and exploring. Okay, guys. Next term we got here is to gobble up. Gobble. Gobble. To gobble up. What could that mean? Gobble up. Now, for whatever reason, now I wrote down the word turkey before, right? Turkey, the bird, right? Whenever we think of the sound that turkeys make, we often think they say like gobble, 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 right? And this term here, to gobble up something, is basically just another synonym for eat, right? To gobble up something basically just means to eat. But it means to eat quickly, right? If you gobble up something, you eat it quite quickly. Maybe because you like it a lot, right? So, what do I like to gobble up? I like to gobble up chicken. Yeah, I like to gobble up chicken. Or maybe you like those shrimp chips in Korea. Saeugong. I can't remember the name. I think they're called saeugong. Saeugong. I like to gobble up saeugong or shrimp chips because they're yummy, right? To gobble up just means to eat quickly. All right, guys. And we've got the next term, get smaller and smaller. Well, ooh, this is too easy for us, right? To get smaller and smaller, right? As opposed to get bigger and bigger, right? So to get smaller and smaller just means to reduce in size, right? Something is getting smaller and smaller, something is getting bigger and bigger, right? This global pandemic with coronavirus is unfortunately getting bigger and bigger, but hopefully soon it will get smaller and smaller. I don't know. And last one we got here is flightless. Flightless is not happening, right? So we can say the dodo bird is a flightless bird, right? Because it cannot fly. That's basically what it means. Now, from that list, guys, those words are the key vocab here. You're going to hear it when you listen to this. But just to clarify or make things a little bit clear, I just want to point out the words that I think are really important here. I'd say significant, really, really useful, remain useful, live off of, not bad, off the coast of, yeah, it's used when we're talking about the location of something, but we don't often talk about something off the coast of, so not terribly useful. Sailor, yeah, it's an occupation, it's not bad. Gobble up, I do use this occasionally, not too much, but it's a good term. Get smaller and smaller, well, that's, you know, you're going to use that sometimes, so yeah, it's important. Flightless, not so much because we don't talk about flightless birds so much, right? But what we're going to do, guys, is you have a big list of comprehension questions here. I'm going to play the recording twice. Want you guys to listen. And while you're listening, try to get the answers for these here. I'm just going to erase this while you guys are doing that. So let's listen to this activity. Here we go. Or here.
What killed the dodo bird? As we all know, the dodo bird is significant in our culture today, as we often use it to describe someone forgetful or, well, just stupid. We often think of this bird as a stupid creature because it is the most famously extinct animal ever. But what do you actually know about it? The dodo lived on Mauritius Islands off the coast of Madagascar. They could not fly, so they remained on this island alone for millennia. The species is believed to have lived off of fruit. There were no humans or other mammals on the island at the time, so these birds were able to just live their lives in peace. It is believed that humans first discovered the dodo in 1505. Sailors found this island and used it as a resting point for long journeys. These birds were big, like turkeys. They could weigh up to 50 pounds, so they were a great source of meat for hungry sailors. They gobbled them up. Eventually, the sailors also brought with them pigs and other animals for food. And because of this, rats also came to the island. The rats would eat the dodo bird egg, and after a while, the population of the bird got smaller and smaller. It became harder and harder to see them. Those are the two main reasons why this bird went extinct. Are there any questions about our flightless feathered friend? Yes.
Professor, when did the last dodo bird die?
Experts think it was in 1605, about 100 years after people first discovered them. And how about you, way in the back?
What did it taste like?
What a great question. My guess is chicken.
Tastes like chicken, eh? All right, guys. Well, I think that was a little bit too quiet. Thankfully, we just turned it up. I'm going to play that one more time. Now, just remember, when you guys are listening, try to answer those comprehension questions there, right? Okay, so let's go again. Let's listen one more time to the dodo bird. Here we go.
What killed the dodo bird? As we all know, the dodo bird is significant in our culture today, as we often use it to describe someone forgetful or, well, just stupid. We often think of this bird as a stupid creature because it is the most famously extinct animal ever. But what do you actually know about it? The dodo lived on Mauritius Islands off the coast of Madagascar. They could not fly, so they remained on this island alone for millennia. The species is believed to have lived off of fruit. There were no humans or other mammals on the island at the time, so these birds were able to just live their lives in peace. It is believed that humans first discovered the dodo in 1505. Sailors found this island and used it as a resting point for long journeys. These birds were big, like turkeys. They could weigh up to 50 pounds, so they were a great source of meat for hungry sailors. They gobbled them up. Eventually, the sailors also brought with them pigs and other animals for food. And because of this, rats also came to the island. The rats would eat the dodo bird eggs, and after a while, the population of the bird got smaller and smaller. It became harder and harder to see them. Those are the two main reasons why this bird went extinct. Are there any questions about our flightless feathered friend? Yes.
Professor, when did the last dodo bird die?
Experts think it was in 1605, about 100 years after people first discovered them. And how about you, way in the back?
What did it taste like?
What a great question. My guess is chicken.
All right, guys. Okay, so you guys listened twice. I'm pretty sure you guys got most of the answers, or hopefully all the answers for the comprehension questions here. But let's take a look together. So number one, we've got, why are dodo birds significant in our culture? Now, by in our culture, I think we're referring to like North American English-speaking culture, right? But what did they say? Why are dodo birds significant in our culture? All right. Well, you know, oftentimes when I'm answering a question, I usually start the answer by addressing the question directly. So why are dodo birds significant in our culture? I might say they are significant. They are significant in our culture because, and then I would write the actual answer. Now, sorry guys, just remember B/C means because. But they're significant in our culture because, did you guys catch it? Why are they significant? What was the professor talking about? Okay, so just as a quick reminder, at the very beginning here, the professor said, what killed the dodo bird? As we all know, the dodo bird is significant in our culture today as we often use it to describe someone forgetful or, well, just stupid. And this is true. If we describe somebody, or we say to somebody like, you know, John, you're a real dodo, you're kind of dumb, you're a dummy, you're a moron, right? It's basically a synonym of those terms there. So they're significant in our culture because we use it, or actually I should say them, we use them to describe forgetful or dumb people. Yeah, it's used to describe someone forgetful or just dumb. So yeah, they are significant in our culture because we use them to describe forgetful or dumb people, right? Which sounds kind of rude, but that's honestly how we use it. So anyhow, so that's significant, right? And let's think about this further. Now, like I said before though, like the dodo, like if you say like he's a dodo, it's kind of like you're saying, if you describe someone as a dodo or a dodo bird, you're describing them basically as someone who is dumb, right? And we know dumb, or you might say dummy, or I usually use the term moron. Now, of course, all of these terms basically mean very stupid Well, some of them mean very stupid, but moron especially means very stupid. I use this term probably more often than I use the other terms here. This is kind of a mean term, of course. However, I usually just use it in a joking way with friends. Anyways, let's take a look at our second comprehension question. We've got, where are the Mauritius Islands? Now, did you guys catch that? Where are the Mauritius Islands? So the Mauritius Islands are located fairly close to another big island, which is located close to a very large continent called Africa, right? So Madagascar is off of the coast of Africa, and the Mauritius Islands are off the coast of Madagascar. So we should say the Mauritius. Now, actually, I could spell this wrong, Mauritius, because this is not a country we often talk about. Mauritius, I guess it's really beautiful there. Islands are located, oops, that E looks weird, located off the coast of Madagascar. So that island kind of in the southeast of Africa, off the southeast coast of Africa. Right? And if you have trouble remembering the name of the country, Madagascar, you can just think mad at gas cars, right? I'm so mad at gas cars. That's why I bought an electric car. Ugh. Ooh, such a terrible, terrible joke. Anyhow, off the coast of Madagascar is the answer we're looking for. Okay, guys, number 3. What do we got here? We got, what did the dodo mainly live off of? Okay, now remember, live off of means you rely on this, you depend on this thing or this person in order to survive, something that provides a source of maybe food or money. In this case, we're talking about the dodo, so it's got to be food, right? So what food did the dodo live off of? Does anybody have an answer? I'm just going to start this. I'm going to say they, referring to the dodo bird, they lived, and of course we have to use past tense because they're extinct. They lived off of what? They lived off of, what did they say? I'm pretty sure the answer is fruit. They lived off of fruit. That's a sweet diet. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, they lived off of fruit. All right, good. Moving on to number 4, guys. What do we got? We got, how heavy were these birds? Okay, so at some point here, while you guys were listening, I hope you guys caught this. They mentioned the weight of the average dodo bird, but they were not using kilograms. They're using more like the imperial system in the United States, and for whatever reason in Canada we use this too. Do you guys remember how much do they weigh, or did, sorry, because they're dead, how much did they weigh? Now, I'm going to start this here. They weighed, now again, I'm going to use past tense because again, we're talking about something that existed in the past, but no longer exists because they're extinct. They weighed something LBS, and LBS is short, and I know that looks weird, it's short for pounds, right? And I believe like the conversion for like pounds to kilograms, I believe 2.2 or 2.3 pounds equals 1 kilogram. Now, did you guys catch it? It was a good round number. It was 50 pounds, right? So 50 pounds, but each, well, 2.2 or 2.3 pounds is 1 kilogram. So like 21, 22 kilograms. So they're pretty big birds, basically like really big turkeys, if you've ever seen a turkey or eaten a turkey before. Okay, guys, moving on to our 5th comprehension question here. We've got, what are the 2 reasons why the dodo went extinct? Now this is like maybe the hardest question here because there were 2 points in the listening activity where they mentioned this, the 2 reasons why they went extinct. So how are we going to answer this? They went extinct because, now let's think of our 2 reasons. Okay, now they mentioned that the dodo birds, you know, they weigh around 50 pounds, right? Pretty fat birds, right? And they probably tasted pretty good. So you can guess that people who went to the Mauritius Islands probably just ate them, right? And that is one of the reasons why. So they went extinct because, actually they specifically mentioned sailors who went there, right? Sailors ate them. And now the second reason, now later in the listening activity, they mentioned that a certain creature would eat the dodo bird's eggs. And of course, what creature is that? Of course, it's rats. Unfortunately, these sailors from Europe, when they started coming to the Mauritius Islands, they started bringing other animals with them. And mentions here pigs and things like that. But of course, rats, you know, they exist in almost every island or every place in the world. So unfortunately, the rats ate the dodo bird's eggs, and the population got smaller and smaller, and then humans kept eating them, and they all went extinct. So they went extinct because sailors ate them, and because rats ate their eggs. Very, very unfortunate for the dodo bird. Anyhow, guys, last question we got for comprehension here is, when do experts believe the last dodo died? All right, so when do they think the last one passed away or died? That one is mentioned further on when the professor is taking questions from his students, right? One of the students said, and I think the student was Australian, he said, "Professor, when did the last dodo bird die?" Right? And the professor says, experts think it was we're just looking for the year. Did you guys get it? Doesn't seem like anybody did. Okay, 1605. So they went, we can say here, they went extinct in 1605. That was when the last one was killed, I guess. Yeah, about 100 years after people first discovered them. So yeah, they went extinct really quickly. Too bad for the dodo birds. Now, one of the reasons why we use the when we use the term dodo bird, we say he is a dodo bird or he's a dodo, and it means dumb, is because we thought that these creatures are kind of dumb, right? They don't fly. I guess they were really friendly, and people, the sailors, took advantage of that and ate them. So that's why it's kind of synonymous with being stupid, unfortunately, right? Okay, guys, but after the comprehension questions here, we just have 2 discussion questions here. And I'm not going to be writing the answers on the board. Of course, I will just model how I would answer these questions, but unfortunately the first question here is one that we just kind of took a look at previously in the second class with the reading article, because it says here, how can we stop animals from going extinct? All right, so again, I already had a tough time answering that previously. How can we stop animals going extinct? That is a really hard question. I am not the guy to ask because I am not really, well, I love animals. Well, love is maybe too strong. I like animals a lot, but I'm not really up to date on conservation efforts. Conservation efforts means like efforts to protect animals, right? I would say, like I said previously, the most important thing we can do to protect endangered animals, to make sure that they don't go extinct, is educate people on the dangers of pollution and on the dangers of maybe like that reading article said, going to tourist spots where we can interact with animals too much, right? I guess obviously, like, my opinion would be education is number one. Number two would probably be